Rachel, what's your position with the supervisor's office?
So I've been with Supervisor Kuehl for about 1.5 years, and I was originally hired as her lead caseworker. However, I'm recently in training to be the Mid-City area field deputy.
Excellent. Good to know.
Yes.
Field
So
up?
I will be your field deputy.
Oh,
Aaron
great.
Seinfeld is also going to be here today, so we're in a bit of a transition right now.
Well,
but yes,
very
moving
nice to
forward.
meet you. We have a
You
good
guys beat me
relationship
to
with
it. I had a great intro for Rachel.
Well, you can do it anyway.
Do it
That's
anyway. I
cool.
just said, who are you?
Oh, I'm happy to do it.
Well, good.
So Rachel's fantastic. I recently got a promotion to a senior field deputy role, which gave Rachel an amazing opportunity to enter the field. So she will be Miracle Mile Chamber's representative contact, and she's fantastic and very knowledgeable. So you guys are in good hands.
Thank you, Aaron. And I do have all my contact information is right here above my head. Cheryl is a little hard to spell, so there's all my information right there for you. Excited to be of service.
Excellent. And
There's
can we
Chuck.
get that? Can we get that into the chat box so that we can see
Of
it
course.
better and type it better? And because I just get mixed up with all those R's and L's.
Yes, there's a lot of
Huge.
R's and L's, of course.
Even with my glasses on, it's confusing to me. All right, we're going to give it just a few more minutes because good morning, Mr. Marquardt. Our guy. Okay, what do we got here?
How you all doing?
Okay, yes.
Good.
Thank you, Chris. Got it.
Although Meg, now I'm thinking about everybody who I can't see their pants. What's going on?
I'm sorry. I'm in full pants and all of that. It's ridiculous. But yes, you're right. There could be people that are wearing gym jams and really great fuzzy slippers. We will never know.
Crocs are making a comeback.
Yeah. And no questions will be asked. No footwear will be revealed during the course of this event. Yeah. I used to have a pair of, somebody gave me a pair of slippers that were literally flamingos. And I wore them around for a while and then they got really ratty and then they went into the big bin in the sky or wherever that was. But they were sure fun for a while. I wish I had them now.
Oh, they sound cute.
Yeah, just great. All right, let's give it one more minute and then we'll get going.
Okay, that's right.
Councilwoman Raman is here, delighted. Indeed.
Hi, everyone. I know I'm not supposed to come till
Welcome.
noon, but I thought I would just pop in a little early, listen into your early discussion, and then speak whenever I was invited to speak.
Oh, that's great.
Terrific.
Is Tabatha going to be joining us? Because I was going to have her introduce you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm happy to introduce myself.
Oh, okay. We'll just get to that. That's
Yeah, I'm going to have my video off, but I'm sitting right here.
okay.
Okay.
Actually, excellent. Okay. All right, moving right along. Adding and adding and adding. This is good. Up with the chat. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. That's excellent. Yeah. Mr. Marquardt, you're looking very studious with your glasses on. Very intellectual.
That's a direct result of certain changes in my eyes recently.
Oh, I hope it's good. Hope it's good.
Well, no, I have to
Oh.
wear these to see my computer screen.
Well, that happens to the
Yeah,
best.
when you
of
turn
us.
30 like you did, that happens.
Yeah. At 35, I really
Right.
understood that. Okay, I think let's get going. I would like to welcome all of you warmly to our May issue of the Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce Zoom meetings. And we're excited today to have with us Councilwoman Nithya Raman. And we'll be hearing from her a little bit later. But first, I would definitely like to thank Television City, who is our sponsor for these events. We couldn't do it without them, and we appreciate them very much. I think that at this point, I don't have any real general announcements. So I think with that, I will go directly to, we have a new member, Portia Park. So Portia, would you like to give us your Empire State Building elevator speech about Portia Park and what you do and how it works for our community? Go ahead.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, thank you, Meg. Good morning, everyone. My name is Portia Park, and I'm happy to be part of the chamber and happy to be here with all of you today. I work with Rodeo Realty. It's a full-service brokerage located in Beverly Hills, and I've been in the industry for 33 years as of next week. So it is the air that I breathe. And I've done business throughout LA and Valley, but I love doing business in Miracle Mile and La Brea Hancock. It is my livelihood. So a question that I got today was, what's ahead in the market? And one of the famous responses that we typically give is that we don't have a crystal ball. However, we do know that last year, in the height of the pandemic, we were actually experiencing a lot of multiple offer activity, which surprised a lot of people. Interest rates are really low. A lot of buyers got off the sidelines and demand was high, but there were not enough properties on the market. And so that has come through to 2021, and we're still obviously experiencing that. So price points 2.5 million and below are hot. Price points under 1.5 million to 1.2 is on fire. So, and now we're in the yellow tier. So we'll soon be returning to open houses again. Ventura County and Orange County are able to hold open houses, but I think it's going to take us maybe another week or so before we do. And within that, there'll still be guidelines to follow how we conduct those in-person open houses as far as capacities, sellers' comfortability with letting visitors in, not knowing if they've been vaccinated or not. A lot of information is coming down the pike, and some of it's rough around the edges. That's still evolving, but clearly we're going to have, I think, a pretty explosive summer now that a lot of people can go about their day-to-day lives a little bit more freely than before. So I'm happy to be here and get to know everybody.
Well, thank you very much and welcome again. All right, I think that since Councilwoman Raman is with us, and rather than waiting around, I think that it would be best. Chris, would you mind giving everybody just a quick rules of engagement? Unmute. Unmute.
Sorry, I was admitting people.
Oh, great.
So welcome everybody. Today we have Nithya Raman, our councilwoman for CD4. If you would like to ask her a question, we have a couple of predetermined questions we've sent her already. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once as I'm admitting people. But if you have a question, please put it into the chat and we'll do it that way. And hopefully after her questions that she answers that we sent her, then we'll move on to your Q&A. I think that's it. I also believe we do have some people joining late today. So they'll be coming in the middle of it, but they'll miss the good stuff with Nithya. I think that's it. And any questions, you can shoot them to me in the chat and I will answer them as they come in.
Great. Ms. Raman, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies
I'm sad. I was hoping to listen into your discussions. Half an hour was about reopening and its challenges. That's why I had logged in early so that I could hear more about what people were dealing with in terms of reopening and what kind of challenges people were facing. But maybe we can discuss that during this this little bit of the discussion.
Pardon me. Could I make a suggestion, Nithya? If you would like to, because that's a valid request, and we do have people joining late and expect you coming in at noon. If Meg, you want to steer it the other direction, and Nithya, you could just listen in. We could go around our membership and see how
Okay.
everybody's doing. And
Well, and you know, this is, I think this is my first time with this group, and you know, hopefully this is first of regular meetings, but I also really just wanted to use this as an opportunity to learn more about particularly this period of challenges that people are facing, but also more about some of the broader issues facing this area and this area's business activity. So I'm really happy here, really here to listen as much as to answer questions. So thank you.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so let's do that. Let's start, and I'm going to start with Dave Gershwin. I'd like to hear from you.
Good afternoon. David Gershwin with David Gershwin Consulting. We do advocacy and communications. So in terms of just a question for the Councilwoman?
And more actually, what is it that you're discovering as we emerge from the pandemic?
Oh,
what are
got
some
it.
of your challenges? What are some of your hopefulnesses? What are some of your goals?
Sure.
It was
And I'll-
described on the agenda as you all were going to discuss the challenges of reopening. So
Yeah.
I logged in early just to
Got
make
it.
sure I
Okay.
hear that. Yeah.
So no, I mean, I think it's just navigating public spaces. I know that, you know, in the case of the council member, I know that City Hall is opening for employees on the 15th, but not to the public for later. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think baby steps are what's absolutely necessary. And I'm taking baby steps. I'm having my first outdoor dining business lunch next week. So I'm fully vaccinated. So, and I think it's a time for us all to reset. And I think, you know, sometimes we start new things at the beginning of a new year, the beginning of a month. So I think this is a time for new beginnings at the end of these 14 or 15 months of absolute craziness. So I'm looking forward to being on a positive note. And I think there are very bright days ahead.
All right. Thank you, David. Mike, Penny, from the Japan Foundation. I think that because of your foundation, you have done very well with virtual programs, but I know you also had some very robust person-to-person programs. How are you going forward?
We did, and we're planning on continuing some of those virtual programs, but just like David Gershwin just mentioned, we're taking baby steps, and the multi-purpose hall in our center at the Japan Foundation, where we hold lectures and workshops and movie screenings. The capacity for that room, that hall, is about 100. So, you know, if we were to keep it to a third of that or a quarter of that, whatever the guidelines necessitate, that's not very many people. But we're trying to come up with creative ways to have as many people as possible come back to our center, reacquaint themselves with our center. And so we're in the planning stages right now of seeing what can be done, maybe outside as well as inside. But either way, we're just now beginning discussions about what to plan in order to get people to come back and revisit us. So very early stages, but we're going to continue some of the virtual programming that you mentioned, Meg, like the virtual Wellness Wednesdays, bilingual yoga, and the Music Mondays programs that people seem to have been enjoying for the past year. We're going to keep those up. And, but yeah, right now we're looking into what we can actually hold in terms of physical events at our space. So exciting, but slow moving.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. Mr. Wellborn of the Larchmont Chronicle, you are a newspaper. What's ahead for you guys?
Well, thank you, Meg. Back when Mayor Garcetti made his first announcement at his first press conference of his myriad Wednesday press conferences in the early stages, I asked him and he said, oh yes, it's all posted on the website. And what was posted on the website is, amongst the exempt activities, not surprisingly, and hopefully in a democracy, was media. So the Larchmont Chronicle, although a number of staff have been working from home, has been in operation. I've been at the office almost every day since well before last March. And here I am today. The Chronicle had a little bit of dip in advertising because some of the businesses were understandably concerned about what the future held, but that's come back. And especially now, most businesses, assuming they still exist, but most businesses, knowing that they're going to be opening and they need to communicate that to their patrons, are doing things to communicate. And so I think newspaper advertising is coming back. We are really most excited on Larchmont generally, and I think Liz and Patty could confirm this, with the upcoming 100th anniversary of the little Larchmont Village, which was going to be celebrated under the leadership of the Larchmont Boulevard Association in October. There was a big 50th anniversary celebration in 1971, and we're going to have a big one in October. So we're focused on that. And as signs of coming back, although a lot of people have been working from home, your board member and our staff member and advertising salesperson, Caroline Tracy, who's on the call, just came back into the office yesterday. And we actually were optimists and started expanding our space in the middle of the COVID epidemic. So she now has a window in her office. That's news at the Larchmont Chronicle.
Great, thank you so much. Tina, Kip, are you ready to tell us what's going on with Cathedral Chapel?
Yes, I'd be very happy to tell you what's going on with Cathedral Chapel. So Cathedral Chapel went out on distance learning was Friday, March 13th last year. And so our teachers taught our students full time. They had full day on distance learning. We just returned to in-person on March 22nd. We staggered our in-person to return. We have I think we have 50% of our students who have returned for in-person, and our other 50% are still on distance learning. So our parents have that option through the end of the school year. So the students are happy to be back. I think distance learning was very difficult for the students as well as for the teachers. So it's been some adjustment for the students coming back. The first week, they were absolutely silent when they came into the building. Second week, they started to laugh, okay, because they really can't play in the schoolyard with sports equipment. So they do games like red light, green light, and, games that we used to play when we were all little kids, okay, because they can't have sports equipment. But they have created imaginary games. So they play imaginary softball, imaginary kickball, okay, because they can't have sports equipment. The third week that they were here, they started to be naughty. So we knew that they were back to normal, okay? But we are very happy to have our children back. I think it's done wonders for many of our children to be back in the classroom with the teacher. It's difficult for the teachers to do both, teaching the students in the room as well as teaching the students at home. So they're doing both at the same time with the technology that we have here at Cathedral Chapel. We did take a hit on our enrollment. We lost probably about 30 of our students. Some of the parents didn't commute into work anymore, so they kept, put their students in other schools. So we're hoping to build our enrollment back up, and that's where we would really like the help of the chamber to help us to put the word out there that, we have a great school here at Cathedral Chapel. We have an excellent reputation. We've been here for over 90 years. And so it's our hope that the chamber will help us grow.
Yes, good. Thank you, Tina. Mr. Thomas, Mr. Evan Thomas from the fabulous Hotel Wilshire. What's up?
Hi, everybody. Challenges. Well, we've stayed open the whole time, and I go on the LA County protocols daily to see what the daily update is. So, I'll go back, because business travel is pretty much non-existent right now. Our focus is on leisure travel. And with things reopening, our big focus is, and the number of calls that we're getting about wedding blocks, birthday parties, celebrations, bat mitzvahs is incredible. We have every weekend, we have a different event starting in June throughout the summer. So the challenge is, can we accommodate a 40-person brunch on the roof? And how do we do that successfully and safely, more importantly? So just constantly looking at the different guidance and updating all of our guests with what is, the safe way and the guidance that we're supposed to adhere to. So it's constantly changing, which is a challenge. Luckily, we have a lot of outdoor space, so it's a little bit relaxed, more relaxed there. So I guess the topic of the day right now is the mask update. The CDC says, hey, you don't need a mask if you're vaccinated. How do we, as a business, as a hotel, communicate that to our guests when LA County still hasn't provided their guidance, or at least that I've seen? So it's a challenge, and we'll just keep going every day.
Right. Thank you, Evan. Mariko, Oscar Museum. Oh, excuse me, Academy Museum. Thank you.
Hi, thanks. I'm Mariko Yoshimura Rain from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. And yeah, I mean, for us, we've launched virtual programming, which we're really, really excited about. And we're actually, I sent you an email earlier, Chris, just about some programs that we're doing where we're really trying to focus on our local community. We want to ensure, virtually we're going to be accessible to the whole world. And I think we are going to have kind of worldwide reach, but we want to ensure that we're really focusing on making sure that the families that live by us, the people that live by us, know we're a resource and want to come and visit too. So, so we are focusing on reaching out for certain educational programs to very hyper-local communities. And I mean, we're also really focusing on our opening right now. So we're planning on opening September 30th this year with really reduced capacity, and knowing that everything's changing on kind of a daily basis. I got tons of texts from colleagues yesterday that were just like, I'm sure all of you did, oh my gosh, like the mask mandate, like everything's changing. So we're constantly thinking about, how that'll affect our bottom line, and also what we can do to feel really inclusive, to feel very open, even if, we do have to have reduced capacity when we open. I know we had talked about a long time ago how we were going to have community celebrations, and maybe we can do a lot around opening. We just may have to span that out, over the course of next year versus, do a lot right when we open. So we're thinking about that a lot, and yeah, but overall really focusing right now on virtual outreach, so that people know that we're here and that we're going to be opening soon.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mariko. Mr. Bonazzo, what's going on with TARFest?
Yeah.
Hello, councilperson. It's great to see you. I have had an opportunity to meet with Tabatha, and it was a great meeting, and you did express some support. I'm happy to report that we did sign our DCA documents today for funding for this year's TARFest for the coming year, and we're just awaiting kind of instructions on how public events will take place. We have a 19-year history, just a brief background of TARFest, of producing a free community gathering, an arts festival in the Tar Pits Park. And we were able to provide programming on a smaller scale last year, adhering to the guidelines. And we're prepared to do that again. So we're working with our community partners. Many of them are chamber members, and work closely with the county, or receive county from the LA County Arts and Culture Department, Department of Cultural Affairs, California Arts Council. So we also operate a gallery on La Brea Avenue. We have been having public openings there. The art community has been holding in-person openings, and they've kind of been doing longer time frames, so that there's not a concentration of people, a lesser concentration of people in the gallery at one time. But I've found that a lot of our patrons are double vaxxed, and everyone still wears their mask and does keep socially distanced. Very responsible group. And I think a lot of members of our specific community and Los Angeles in general have remained quite responsible in adhering to the mask wearing. And I think that's kind of important that we maintain that, even though we've received those orders or those notices from the CDC. But we're eternal optimists in the nonprofit sector and in the arts sector, and we're eager to serve and look forward to working with you during your term. Thanks for being here again, and great to see you, Tabatha.
Yeah, thank you, James. All right, Karen, you have a gallery, a studio. hatch on to what James said.
Yeah, it's been a lot fewer people coming in. People are worried, about being together, I guess. But we're going to try and have we're in North Hollywood, but I'm also a member of Tag Gallery, which is in the Miracle Mile. They've opened too. They've had some success in the last month with people coming in that neighborhood. But we're also remodeling, trying to do more to encourage people to come in and stay. So we have a artist reception at the end of the month that we're really looking forward to. And again, it's going to be reduced capacity at that point. I just want to thank you, Councilwoman, for helping support painting utility boxes. I'm also engaged with the Let's Paint Sherman Oaks Foundation. So we're all very excited about the next year in that regard, which is very supportive of artists who are, trying to make it out of here. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Karen. Z, how about Black Dog Coffee? What's happening?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So for Black Dog, we have finally renovated the inside. So everyone who hasn't been here has a great treat to look forward to when they do come in. I know indoor dining is open again at either 25 or 50%. So we are seeing a little bit more influx in indoor dining, which is nice. It is driving up the sales a little bit, but we're really looking forward to how the timeline unfolds and how everything is opening up. But yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, thank you very much. Patty, Liz, do either of you have something to add to what's been said about the media? Because you're the Larchmont buzz.
Yes, like John said, all of us in the media have been going great guns ever since all of this started. In fact, we find ourselves busier than ever. And I think one of our challenges coming up is that there are so many online meetings, and we have kind of increased the number of community organizations and community meetings that we cover to the point where we're now doing several a day and several nights a week. And we're hoping that there's going to be some way when the city meetings come back and other organization meetings come back, that they don't just all of a sudden all switch back to in-person only, that they can figure out some way to do hybrid, because we can't be in all these various places at once physically. So that's one of our challenges coming up. And we've heard some other people in the community say the same thing, is that there is a certain increased convenience to being able to interact with people in an online forum. So we're definitely part of that. Like John said, we're looking forward to celebrating the 100th year of Larchmont Boulevard this year, and also the 10th anniversary of the Larchmont Buzz, which was founded in 2011. So we have a big one at the same time.
Excellent.
And, as always too, we are happy to help get the word about all your other business efforts. And whether it's, covering events you're doing, or if you, would like to advertise with us in several of many different formats that we offer, we would love to talk to you.
Excellent. Okay, let's go back to Chuck Marquardt, real estate. And then after that, I'd like to hear from Mr. Steve Rosenthal. So Chuck, what do you got?
And what was the specific question?
Well, it's as you go forward and we are reopening, and there is, do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? And in terms of real estate and conducting tours to homes, and with what I consider to be an exploding real estate market due to lack, quite frankly, of supply. I mean, there's just only a certain number of houses. What are you concerned about as you go forward into this reopening?
Well, first of all, Portia did an excellent job of talking about what the challenges are right now with regards to open houses and showings and the market right now. The big thing that we're focusing on right now is, how to keep buyers from being discouraged, right? That's the big thing right now, because it is such an explosive market, and we're seeing 5, 10, 15, 20 offers on a property right now. And people thought 2020 was low in inventory. It was not. We had about the exact same inventory and the same number of sales in all the neighborhoods around the Miracle Mile as we saw in 2019, in 2020. In 2021, we're seeing half again, 50% increase in the number of sales. And we still have an inventory of about 2 months of inventory, which has been consistent for the last 3 or 4 years. So what that means is we have a lot more buyers out there. A lot of people have been, just like all of you all, who have been sitting in your homes going, is this all that I have? Is this really serving me well moving forward? And of course, for many of us, it's just not. Some of us are not going back to the office. Some of us are going to be continuing to work at home and we have different space needs now than we did in 2019, right? So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this influx of new buyers and more sales happening and still having low inventory. So keeping the spirits up of our lovely buyers is a big part of it. And of course, one of the things that we know how to do is how to help people to excel and to actually succeed in acquiring their homes, even though it's sometimes painful to have to write those large offers or things outside of money, right? Things that they'll make the terms better for the sellers. So we're getting as creative as possible right now to help our buyers get into homes. But if you're thinking about selling, it's a great time to sell, right? So we're happy to be talking about that. It's a much happier conversation for people.
Excellent. Chuck, thank you so much. Mr. Rosenthal, PR
Hi.
Pro, what have you got to tell us about your challenges ahead?
Well, we've been working, with the fire department a lot, and the challenge is actually Fire Department Appreciation Month. And in the past, the last time folks were able to visit the fire stations was in 2019. Last year, there were no visitors allowed, and although we're emerging and recovering from the pandemic, the fire stations are still closed to the public. They still have to take care of not only the pandemic and emergencies, but now they're getting ready for wildfires, et cetera. But so the First and Fire Foundation has been working towards supporting them through, they have to shop and prepare their meals during this pandemic, and they've been thank you, by the way, Councilwoman Nithya Raman and Tabatha for helping out for their support for the firefighters and the programs. And we know how important that is, and thank you for continuing the work of the office. So the next projects are bringing the firefighters more efficient kitchens, so that they cook for themselves, and we're bringing mixers, freezers, etc., to the fire department based through our help with CD4, CD5, and our individual supporters, and Television City and Regional Farmers Market, some of the supporters from the First and Fire Foundation. So, and I've been working with Lynn Cohen on helping her in moving everything forward. So it's changing, but there's still the recovery coming. And unfortunately, we can't visit the fire stations, but we are planning some firehouse pancake breakfasts. Remember those? Those are always fun. And so that's planning maybe September, October, but we'll let you all know. So thank you for asking.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I think, because I know that Councilwoman Raman's time is short, first of all, could we do a very brief, Tabatha, can you give us 2 minutes about you? And then if you would introduce us officially to Councilwoman Raman, I think that would be great.
Hi, everyone. So a few of you already know me. I've met with some of you. My name is Tabatha. I'm the field manager for the entire Midtown area of CD4 and Hollywood. And yeah, I'm pretty much like the first line of contact for any constituent concerns. So I will put my email in the chat and feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions. And with that, I will pass it along to the Councilwoman.
Thanks, Tabatha. I'm so happy to be here. Very excited to do this in person when we can. It feels like we're overdue for that. And Stephen, when you're ready to do pancake breakfast, I have very happy pictures of my twins at the last pancake breakfast they were able to attend. Now they're even more excited about firefighters. So we'd love to figure out how we can attend when you are able to organize it again.
Well, thank you.
And I'm really excited to be here today. Really excited to be working with all of you on this neighborhood and its future. It's such an incredible part of CD4. CD4 is obviously such a sprawling district, but because of the kinds of institutions that are opening, like the Academy Museum, the revamp of Television City, the revamp of LACMA, because of the Purple Line coming in, not only is this neighborhood an incredible historic part of our district, which is so essential to this neighborhood's, to this district's history and to the history of Los Angeles, but it is also going to be, I think, a real center of our economic recovery going forward. It's certainly going to be a drawing point for tourism. I think it's going to be an incredible influx of people. Already we have that with just the institutions in their current shape and form, but now with new museums and new cultural institutions opening their doors, and with more investment going into our existing institutions, we're going to see so many more people coming to this area and so many more workers coming into this area as well, because of how many more stages are being added, production stages are being added to Television City, for example. So this is an area which is facing, I think, which is going to be facing such an incredible amount of change over these next few years. And I'm really excited and proud and humbled to be in this seat as we navigate this period, and really excited for our office to hopefully serve as a point of communication and a place where all of the different projects and all of the different issues that are challenging this area can ideally find a place to share information, to communicate with one another, and to work with one another more effectively over the next few months and years as we navigate what is inevitably going to be, I think, a very exciting, but also a very intense period for this neighborhood. And I'm really excited to be here talking to all of you and to anchoring that partnership with, getting to know everyone and getting to know this neighborhood even better. I received some questions beforehand, and so maybe I can just go through some of those questions at this time. And they're broad questions. So I think anytime you feel like I've talked enough, I think you can tell me to stop. But let's start with the first one. I got a question about addressing homelessness and the policies and programs that we have done already in office, and I have planned to respond to this issue, and how businesses and community leaders in this area can step up and contribute to being part of the solution for one of the biggest crises facing Los Angeles. And I think one of the key missing elements in LA, in the broader system that we've had to respond to homelessness, that our office has focused on in our first few months, has been making sure that we know what's happening and making sure that people have access to regular outreach and services. So when I came into office and I surveyed all of the encampments across the district, and we were able to understand where people were living on the streets and which neighborhoods they were concentrated in, one of the things we realized was that most encampments across the district were not getting regular sustained outreach from outreach workers and case managers. And we hired a homelessness coordinator, and we're now in the process of essentially putting together a small team within our office that is addressing homelessness with outreach as its anchor. And so we've worked with every service provider across the district and are supplementing that through our own our discretionary funds, hiring an outreach team that is going to serve our district to make sure that every major encampment across the district is getting regular sustained outreach, which means that major encampments are being visited at least 3 times a week by the same outreach workers. To me, this is the key to being able to move, or one of the keys, housing is the other key, but this is one of the key missing elements that is key to being able to address homelessness and being able to address some of the challenges around homelessness. If you have regular sustained outreach, if people are visiting encampments regularly, you can also inform people when there are cleanups happening. You can also work with people to make sure cleanups can be collaborative, and to make sure that in the process of while we're getting from this moment of crisis in Los Angeles to a moment where more people are able to be sheltered and to be in housing, that we're able to share space on our streets more effectively, and that we're able to share space on sidewalks more effectively. That can't happen without outreach. Or rather, let me put it in a more pointed way. That can't happen in a collaborative and compassionate way without outreach. We have done cleanups in the past. We have done responses in the past that I think haven't always put kind of the experiences and needs of people experiencing homelessness at the center of those interventions. And I believe that we can do this collaboratively and effectively going forward. And outreach is a key part of that. And so that's what a lot of our work initially was focused on, was on making this system of outreach across the district, putting it into place, and putting into place legislation at the city that allowed us to understand how outreach was being conducted across the city and trying to make that system across the city more effective as well. And that has meant interrogating our relationship with LASA, which is our primary partner in a lot of that outreach work, and seeing how the city can work more effectively with LASA as a partner. We've also talked about two other things a lot in office. One is having more drop-in centers and kind of drop-in resources. And we are still working across our neighborhoods to find locations. We have possibilities across the different neighborhoods, but we're still conducting, we haven't announced any locations yet because we're still conducting feasibility studies and other kinds of things on some of these locations. And we don't want to surprise anyone in the community. We want to make sure that we're doing that community outreach first to make sure neighbors around those locations know and are on board and are supportive of those locations. So that means that the process will take a little bit longer, but we're really excited about working on it and hopefully getting to finding locations that are exciting for everyone. We also have invested in our office in trying to bring more mental health resources to people experiencing homelessness. Now, this is a really important aspect, and I think a broader challenge that we're facing in LA City overall. LA City has 70% of our county's unhoused population, but really doesn't get 70% of the county's mental health resources for people experiencing homelessness. It doesn't. And we have to fight for that fair share, you know? And so that's part of what our office has been doing, has been pushing and lobbying with through the Homelessness and Poverty Committee, led by Mark Ridley Thomas, through direct interactions with DMH and through our own budgetary efforts. So I have two things which I'm very excited about in the mayor's budget. One is that our district has received a mental health crisis team assigned to it. So it's called a multidisciplinary team. That's a 5-person team, which includes a mental health mental health worker, a regular health worker, social worker, a housing navigator, and they all come out and a substance abuse support individual. And so all of these people will come out together. It's a team. This is a teams that exist across the county. We really need 10 of them, and we're getting 1 through this budget, you know, but we're taking baby steps, you know, we're taking baby steps to this. But that means that if someone is experiencing mental illness in our district, we will be able to call on that crisis team for help. And that means that they'll come based on our needs. And I think that's really important. We don't have that right now in LA. The other thing that I'm excited about, which doesn't impact this neighborhood, but it impacts the district overall, is that the mayor has also supported something called these circle teams, which hopefully will be sent, which is in the mayor's budget, which is hopefully we'll have a 24/7 crisis van with mental health support in the Hollywood neighborhood. So it will impact District 4, but although not this area. Both of these things I think are incredibly important for addressing it. It's the first step, and we're continuing to put together what I hopefully will be a better response to mental health issues overall. I can keep talking about this issue. We're also working on finding sites for permanent supportive housing, for shelters, for safe camping throughout the district. all of that work is in progress in partnership with the CAO's office. When we have sites, and I saw that there was a question about a particular site in the chat, we will come to you first. Hopefully you'll never hear about a site through an announcement. Hopefully you'll hear about it through a conversation that you're having with our office. That's our goal anyway. Our goal is not to surprise you or to say this is what we've chosen. Our hope is to come to you and say, here's what we'd like to do here. We'd love to get your support in this. We'd love to get you on board with this. And so if you have questions about particular sites in your neighborhood, or if you have questions about things that you're hearing, please do come to us first. We'd love to answer your questions and to set you at ease, but also to involve you in those conversations going forward in terms of finding locations. The final part of that question, which is my favorite part of the question, was how can we help? And I want to give you an answer for that. There's two answers that I think are really important. We desperately need locations for all of this stuff, whether it be underutilized public sites that we haven't identified yet. We've done a thorough search of all of our city locations and city properties and city sites in the district. We maybe have missed something. Please bring it to our attention. If there's privately owned lots that we can rent, for any of those resources, there's a whole range of resources that will help our broader housing and homelessness crisis. Everything from like 100% affordable housing, all the way to a drop-in center or a shelter. So it can be a range of things. It can be something that is positive for your community, something that you're ready to welcome in. Whatever it is, we still need a place to put it. And so helping us identify those opportunities will be really, really important. The second piece is that, we get a lot of calls about encampments, that, oh, this encampment is problematic. This encampment has, there's some hygiene issues or sanitation issues. Those we're able to address through our office fairly straightforwardly by working with LA Sanitation and with outreach to make sure that we're addressing those issues quickly. If we're not, please do let us know. But if there are other additional issues that are more challenging at encampments, let's say that a sidewalk is so narrow that it's completely impassable because of a tent. Those are places where in order to resolve the issue, we need to find housing options for people. And so we are doing that work to find housing. We're looking for room key and home key opportunities, that is purchases of buildings in the district through federal funds, purchases of apartment buildings or hotels and motels. But for all of those, we really need help identifying those opportunities. We're calling through lists. We're calling through, we're looking at apartment listings, and we're doing a lot of that work, but this neighborhood better than us. Hopefully we'll know it as well as you do. It's very soon, but right now you probably know it better than us. So you letting us know where those opportunities are going to be really helpful. And the final piece is, if you are a landlord, if you know people who are landlords who own multiple units, I encourage you to check out the lease up program. And I want to suggest that all of you guys get involved in this program if you have units. Lease up is a program where you get a rapid rehousing voucher. This is for a person who's experiencing homelessness. They get a voucher that can help them move into a home. And we have a path, we have a project, a program that is funded by PATH, which is called Lease Up, which provides landlords support and a financial bonus, 24-hour case management, and everything you need to essentially rent your apartment through that voucher program. So it's actually an incredibly easy program to be a part of. Most people who are going into the program are people who are on the verge of homelessness. So you basically get people into that program so that they never end up on the street. That is really the best place to intervene. It's an incredibly effective program. And if you have a unit which has multiple bedrooms, you can do 3 separate leases for that unit. It is very, very competitive in terms of the rents that you're getting in Los Angeles as well. And the program is very effective in terms of providing support for landlords. And they have a ton of landlords that you can talk to who've already participated in it, who can tell you about their experience in it. So I just encourage people to get involved in that way, in addition to anything else you may want to do in terms of volunteering. But when I'm talking to a Chamber of Commerce, I feel like that's really what I need from people, is that's in order to get people out of encampments and into homes, we need the homes. And that's what the city of LA is focused on right now. And one of the ways in which individuals and groups like this can help is by helping us identify those opportunities for homes. So thank you very much for doing that, because I know I'll be hearing from all of you very soon with lots of opportunities.
Thank you, Councilwoman Raman. I see there was a question from Tina Kipp, Cathedral Chapel, that's in the chat. Tina, could you reiterate your question to Councilwoman Raman, please?
Yes, we're very concerned because a couple months ago, a newspaper clipping, and I'm not sure what newspaper it came from,
okay,
was sent to me. And in the newspaper clipping, it said that the city was looking at the public parking lot, which is across the street from our school on Cochrane Avenue, for a homeless shelter.
What's the address of it?
Our school?
No, the parking lot.
I'm not sure what the address is, but our school is 755 South Cochrane. And
okay.
So it's right across the street.
Okay.
So it's a major issue for us here at the school because, you know, for the safety of our students who come to school, some of our students walk, some of them still ride bikes to school. Parents come and pick their kids up. And also for a parking issue, that is the last parking lot that we have here in the neighborhood for parents to be able to park and run into the school office and pay a bill or to meet with a teacher. Our other parking lots that we were able to use before have been taken up with construction. So the one that we used to use on Dunsmuir is gone. So things have been, you know, eaten up. We've been here for over 90 years.
Wow.
And at that time, you didn't need a lot of parking lots because there weren't that many cars. But in this day and age, when you've got over 150 families who are bringing their students to and from school, you need a parking lot. But the homeless shelter across the street would really affect our enrollment.
Okay, well, I can check on it. We what we've done is basically we haven't done any kind of neighborhood level assessment of properties yet, in the sense of what we've done is just submit batches of publicly owned pieces to the CAO to say, are any of these viable? Are any of these viable? I can certainly check on this particular property and see if we are in the process of assessing it or not, or what the status is, but certainly nothing as concrete as a shelter is planned for this property has come forward. We would be aware of that. And as I said earlier, my hope is that we would come to you before we made a public announcement about anything like that, or before anything came out in a newspaper, to say, hey, this is what we were thinking for this site. This is what the CAO has told us is viable for this site. And this is what we'd like to invest in. And we'd love to get your support. What would make you feel excited about having this kind of facility here? And the kinds of facilities that are needed most urgently to me is really long-term housing. And we're going to be arranging in the next couple of months, like when it's safer to do, you know, group activities, we're going to be arranging visits to permanent supportive housing facilities that exist already. Turns out that I was living near one in Silver Lake for years and never knew that it was a PSH facility. And so if we were to build something like that, you may never even know that it was a facility that was being used for housing people who had experienced homelessness. And so I want to get people excited about what's coming into their neighborhoods. I want to get people supportive about these things. So whatever we have planned, we'll make sure that we come out and talk to you first. And Tabatha will hopefully has your contact information already, but if not, I know where you are, so I'll come find you.
Thank you. We have one more question that's just come up. Councilwoman Raman, I hope you have time to answer this. This is from Steve Kramer. Is the council working with the controller's office to identify city-owned vacant property?
Yeah, so we use the list that's been supplied to us from the controller's office, and then we submit it to the CAO for feasibility studies. It's a slow process, but that is the process that we've been following. We're also doing some, we've done some like scrapes of databases of real estate. So we're working with CBRE to help us identify potential properties that could be purchased through the state level home key program. So we're using different data sources, but if there's data sources that we should be looking at, I really welcome you, you're pointing us in the right direction for those.
Thank you. All right.
So we had a couple of other questions that came in. For example, okay, one thing I wanted to ask you while I was here, and I know we don't have too much time left. I have another event to
Hollywood.
Oh, yes. Well, and something between that, between this and that too. Yes. One thing I wanted to ask you was, one of the questions that came in was about the relationship that you had with CD4 in the past, and what we were going to do to continue that. And one of the questions I always like to ask groups that I'm talking to is, what has been the nature of your relationship, or how best can our office work effectively with this group? And so since this is my first time here, I thought I would pose that to you and to say, how best can we sustain our partnership? What would you like to see from us going forward? And what can we do to make sure that our voice is loud and clear and here for you?
Steve, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm stammering because of the COVID and how that's changed everything. I mean, I've been dealing with CD4 offices going back actually to Ferraro's last year.
Wow.
But you could go down, was the door open? Yes, the door is always open. Literally walk in City Hall. That's been shot the last year. That, I guess, City Hall's open to you at this point. Is that right or not yet?
Yeah, I'm here in my office now I've been working here for the past couple of weeks. But we just started coming in, and there's really only one other person who comes into this office regularly, because we haven't gotten guidance on kind of what
you can do,
how many people can come in, et cetera. Yeah. And I don't believe that outsiders will be able to come in for quite some time. So at least another month or two, I would imagine. Before
I would just look forward as we go forward over not just a month, but months, that relationship, that we do get to establish a closer relationship with the office, kind of almost know who to call when, because the call should go to you.
So yeah, one great thing is that our district director, Andrea Conant, who you may have interacted with, she's done a lot of work in the Miracle Mile area already. She's also a Miracle Mile resident.
Good.
So, I think she'll be a great, in addition to
Tabitha's our new best friend.
In addition to Tabatha, Andrea can be a great point of contact for this group. And Andrea and I, if you're ever willing to do weekend walks or even during the weekdays, it's fine. It just becomes harder in terms of my meeting schedule. But Andrea and I have been doing weekend walks in different neighborhoods going out to different community groups now that it's become safer, to say, okay, here's an ongoing challenge that we're facing. How can we start, fixing it? Or just here's some things that we want to flag, or just getting to know individuals and organizations. So if you're open to that, we'd love to set that up.
I think
even in the meantime.
I think I can speak for the organization. We're very open to that. I think it's
great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, a neighborhood that's small enough to actually do that and have an impact.
Yeah, we'd love that. So should I reach out to you, Steve, to set that up, or Meg?
Meg,
I'm your contact.
Meg will do it.
I think you know that as well.
That would be great. It really would be. And it also lets the people that are working on the street know who you are and that there is representation.
Yeah.
That's great. Wonderful offer. Thank you.
Great. And I know it's been such a challenge being here, at a time when we felt like, like we did this community walk in Sunset Square, and we had to maintain 6 feet of distance. We had to limit the number of people who could come. It was just so awkward. And I'm so delighted that we're finally at a point where we can have these community meetings in ways that I think will be, it also it's the joy of the work. And we've really been missing the joy of the work, which is getting to interact with people and meet people where they are. So I'm so excited to do that again. And
it's great to hear.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that as a school, we've always had a very close relationship with our council person's office. Tom LaBonge used to be a frequent visitor here. at the school. He would come and visit with the children.
Yeah.
Also, David Ryu invited our students to go down to City Hall, and he arranged a visit of City Hall and talked to them about the importance of city government. So we would just like to be sure that that kind of a relationship can continue for our students.
Yeah, we'd love that. I love
Our kids are the future leaders. And so
Yeah,
we
for
need to develop those leadership qualities in them.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a virtual event with another school in the district, St. James, and it was hilarious. They were so excited to talk to elected representatives. They were so excited to ask questions, but the whole time I was like, this would be so much better in person. And yeah, I'd love to come and visit whenever you're ready. And maybe for drop off, or, you know, if you're having challenges with drop off or pickup with cars, that's something I can see, and then maybe come and interact with some of the students as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councilwoman Raman, thank you so much for your very valuable time.
Can I say one more thing? Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Devlin.
I just want to say that thank you so much for coming today, like Meg said. One of the things I just wanted to chime in that was great, and I'm sure Tabatha and you are going to pick up the reins on this, was during the pandemic, we had a lot of phone calls and emails coming in that I was able to shoot over to Rob, and Rob was able to answer. So we acted sort of as a conduit of people, you know, not only in a state of panic, but also in a state of wonderment of like, what do I do? Who do I go to? And the PPP and the PPL and all the programs that the city was doing, that was very helpful for us to have like an open, it was sort of an open highway that I would get the email, shoot it over to Rob. Rob would get it from Councilman Rue's, you know, perspective, or whatever department could handle it, and it would go back out. So that was another key factor that if we could continue that, that would be terrific.
Yeah, so I want to, I'm going to put in, what's our, what's the main contact CD4 at lacity.org? Yeah, so I'm going to put that in there. This is lacity.org. That, so if you write to Tabatha, that address, and I'm also going to put in Andrea's. We also have
emails.
Yeah. So these are just 3 email addresses that you can, the contact CD4 will, you know, is checked constantly and responded to constantly. Our office line is also answered always during working hours. And we would love to continue being that point of information. We did serve a role, at least during, even during the campaign, for just translating some of these orders into plain English, and to making sure people were connected to resources. We've also developed contacts at all of the state representatives' offices for EDD claims and things like that, so that when people are writing to us about EDD issues, we don't just send them to the main website. We try and connect them to individuals who we know will, you know, make sure that their issues are being addressed. So we'd like to, we hopefully are already continuing to be that and do that for the district, and would love to continue doing that for you as well. And with that,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to take this walk. Steve and Meg, I'm so excited to visit the school, Tina, and very excited to bring my kids to the pancake breakfast, and just excited to continue this conversation as well. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Tabatha, are you going to hang in with us a little bit?
Yeah, I can stick around till 12:45 if there are any, you know, further questions or things of the sort.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions that they would like to bring up for Tabatha to answer?
Meg, if I could chime
Sure.
in.
Back to Chris.
Just one thing, the businesses in this area are very much looking forward to the reopening and the mask order and all of that. I could just say the one concern that I have is my fiance is in the food service business as well, and she has some. It's kind of an apprehension right now with the new CDC order. I mean the CDC order with the masks. the mask mandate of who's gonna regulate that and the vaccination cards. And she was kind of worried about going back to work after this order. So I think that's one of the concerns I didn't get to voice when Councilwoman Raman was here, but the workers on the ground, the frontline workers, I think there's a little bit of apprehension, not that everybody doesn't want to take off their mask, but from her standpoint, she was worried this morning, like, how do we know? And am I going to wear a mask at work? And she was still saying like, well, I'm going to be wearing a mask at work because I don't know who has one and who doesn't. Yeah, if we could pin them on our chest, that would be great. But some people don't want to get vaccinated and some people aren't going to. So that's an issue that they're struggling with. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, we actually have a small business liaison in our office. And we have a small business like policy advisor as well. And so whenever concerns like that come up, I usually reach out to them first to see if like they can help. If they're, if the order is confusing, we can help break it down. If there's any legislation we need to look into exploring, we can raise it with Greg. And then Sue, who is currently our Greater Wilshire field manager, will be transitioning into being our small business liaison. So she'll be able to take calls and answer direct questions about these things. But I think right now we're all just kind of, waiting to see what's going to happen. But if you have any questions like that, I'm happy to, connect you with Sue and Greg, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Plus, Tabatha, I'd like to just observe that this is really in Rachel's territory. It's the Board of Supervisors and the County Board of Health. And so I think they're our masters as terms of masks and what we do locally here, not the city.
Yeah, the order comes down from the county. Erin is here if she wants to chime in on that.
Erin Seinfeld would like to speak about that, please. Erin? Oh.
You're muted.
I will give Rachel the opportunity, then I will jump in if I have anything to add.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you so much, John, for bringing me in. I really appreciate that. There's a couple things I'd like to note. I know that there is a lot of confusion, and I know when we were talking earlier, going around and discussing the issues that different businesses has had, that there's a lot of confusion. And so I want to note, number one, the county receives the same updates in real time as everyone else. So the county, so there is a little bit of lag as Dr. Ferrer and Public Health really figure out how we can best address this issue in LA County and what makes sense for LA County. So we do ask for a little bit of patience. I know that everyone's very excited. There's been this, amazing announcement. But as far as LA County is concerned, we are still requiring masks. The HOO has not changed. Additionally, to Chris's point, because I know you spoke specifically about the workplace, I would like to add that Cal OSHA is meeting on May 20th, and they will be discussing this issue and what's going to happen in California in the workplace. And they will be, long story short is we're also very surprised and we're looking into it and we're excited to have more information in the coming week or so. I sent my information in the chat, so please reach out to me. And once I have more information, I'm more than happy to share it with you.
Yeah, and to just, Rachel, that was perfectly put. To add in some other ways that our office can help and Rachel can help, because since public health is a county entity, we have liaisons within the department assigned to our office to assist with our constituency. And so I think that we've worked with many of you, some of you throughout the pandemic when you've had questions about your businesses, trying to make sense of some of the protocols, which we know can be confusing, as well as the health officer order. You're welcome to reach out to Rachel in our office and we can assist make sense for some of it. But as Rachel said, until the Cal OSHA meeting happens on May 20th for that standards board meeting, regardless, the county can do nothing but be more restrictive from the state. So we're kind of where you guys are at too. Like, all right, what's going to happen? But we are here to support you when decisions are made.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Erin.
Right. John, I think you had something to say.
I just had a follow-up for Tabatha. If Sue is going to transition into the business role, are you then just going to extend your boundary over to the eastern edge of the district and pick up Greater Wilshire?
So we're hiring additional field staff. And once that person is hired, then, Sue will be able to transition. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly when that will happen because I'm not involved in the hiring process for the office, but yeah, we're waiting until we bring on more field staff.
Is Larchmont Village in your area?
No, that's in Sue's area right now.
Okay.
And just to add one thing, John, and my fellow Larchmont and Greater Wilshire folk, I'm still your representative for that area. So if you need anything, if Rachel and I can punt to each other if it's Miracle Mile or Mid City, but we're here to support you on both sides.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Tabatha, for what it's worth, we're just an extra 50,000 people in Greater Wilshire. We actually interact completely with Miracle Mile and the area around the Grove and the Farmers Market, and that it's really that sort of little teeny island at the southeastern tip of CD4. So we're delighted to have somebody who treats us, especially with an extra staff person. But if I were a manager, I'd keep it all together and cut personnel costs by 50%. If you want to pass that on.
Agreed.
I agree too.
I will pass that along. I know, because I also have Hollywood, so I'm not entirely sure what the final plan will look like, but I'll pass it along.
Just historically, it's been one community, and it would be nice to see that maintained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why it's the Greater Miracle Mile. All right. Tabatha, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you need to skedaddle. I have no idea where you're going next, but I'm sure you do. But I do appreciate your time. And I appreciate your letting us know how to be in touch with you. I can see on the chat that you've given us some additional information on how to schedule a time to talk on the phone. So we've had the information, and I think you've got a real good amount of information from our group on what we're looking at and how we can work together. And I think that's great. So again, thank you so much for your time today. And no doubt you're going to be hearing from all of us sooner than later.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Cheers. All right. Moving right along. I know we had talked a little bit about questions and what we were looking at going forward, particularly when we were looking at having Councilwoman Raman have something to respond to. And if I've missed anybody, I think David Mann, we didn't get to you. And if there's anyone else that I did not get to in terms of what it is that you feel that you're looking forward to, or the challenges that are going forward for you in terms of what your business is. So David, do you have any comments? Unmute, please.
No, thank you. No, actually, are we here? I'm here.
Yes, you're here.
I just want to introduce myself to Tabatha because we've talked on the phone. So I'll do all that offline, but I'm glad to see all of you here, and we're coming out of it, but it's not over yet. So the people that jumped the gun, I totally anticipate that people take off their masks who have not vaccinated themselves. So we're going to have to be really careful, prudent. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Because I have a straw poll to do. We have been talking about the fact that part of this whole discussion is that we're looking at branching out and getting out. And one of the things that we're looking at is return of the evening social. Those of you who remember that, and I know Mr. Penny knows about that because we had one in front of the Japan Foundation, but this is an evening event rather than a Zoom. It's in person. And this used to be just in the summer months. Of course, with California weather, it went all the way to October. But the idea was that this was 5:30 to 7 o'clock, wine, nibbly bits, and a great opportunity for basically interacting and networking, which is the basis of commerce and making connections. But I'd like to find out before we actually start to look at where we might have these outdoors. And we had them at the Wilshire Courtyard, obviously, Mr. Penny knows about that. We had them at the Oakwood Residential interior patio and the ever fabulous Hotel Wilshire penthouse or the rooftop. Nothing like it. So, and also we had one at the Tag Gallery. So there are options. We do have members that have facilities which can handle the 20 people who normally showed up at these events. It was all very congenial. So what I'd like to find out from all of you is, one, are you in favor of us returning the evening social? And after we get kind of a bead, people raising their hand, and I'll call for that in a second, yay. Then I want to know when we should start thinking about this. So first of all, how many of you would be interested in the return of the evening social? Okay, I think this is a good move. I think we're all in favor of this. Now, the next question is, when are you going to feel comfortable initiating, having us plan those? Do we want to start in June? Do we want to start in July? Do we want to wait until August? Comments, questions? Okay, I've got fall.
July or August. June's too soon.
Okay, July or August. How are we feeling about that? All right.
Meg, I would say now, except for the fact that we are heading into the summer months, which could be a little bit tricky in terms of people's availability. So, you know, you might not get as much of a return. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, I'm comfortable now.
Yeah. I think that what we're really looking for is probably closer to July or August. Makes a lot more sense. And I think at that point, people are going to feel more comfortable, and maybe there'll be a normalcy of how people feel comfortable with taking their mask off to have a glass of wine. So,
and it would be outdoors.
And it would be outdoors. And as I said, these events don't have 5,000 people. The average number was 20. So keeping distant and so on, and with more people being vaccinated and more people feeling comfortable, whether they know they have a badge on their name tag that has a great big gold star on it or two, is going to make a big deal and a lot of difference. So I think we're looking at July and August. I'm welcoming, continue to give me your comments, and we'll start planning that. And thank you for letting me know how we're doing here. And so the next question is, what are we going to do in June? Well, I'm going to have to do something about that, aren't I? So if any of you have any hot ideas on who you'd like to hear from as a guest speaker in June, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll put my thinking cap on and I'll come up with something. So any other questions or comments before we get on to the part that everybody really likes, which is the raffle? I know that's why you come to these things in the first place. So anything else? Anything I should know?
Thank you for putting this together. Thank you, and Chris.
Okay, all right. All right, now for the fun stuff. Mr.
I have one other thing, just a quick announcement that we are moving forward with a directory this year.
Yes.
The Greater Miracle Mile business directory that we publish. It's a hard copy. It's about 50 pages. It goes out to local businesses, restaurants, hotels, residential sections. Park La Brea gets a huge number of boxes that they distribute to their residents. So if you are looking for advertising, we have some of the lowest rates for members anywhere. And I've been sending out an email. One should have gone out today. So you can check that out if you would like to advertise. And yeah, that's it. Our advertising deadline got moved back to May 21st since this is tax week. And we didn't want to put anybody under any undue strain. So if you want, just contact me to reserve your space, and let's move on to the raffle.
All right. What we have from Arbonne is a beauty basket with coconut, body oil, and polish. Who gets that?
Oh, Erin Seinfeld.
Erin, are you on? Are you still with us?
I am. I won.
All right. All right.
I never win anything.
You did today.
Too late now. You got it.
You got it.
Yep. Now, Black Dog Coffee, a fabulous $20 gift certificate. Don't miss their tortilla soup. Really good. So who gets Black Dog gift certificate?
It's our consultant himself, David Gershwin.
Mr. Gershwin, I love that. Okay.
Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, no, really excellent. And great coffee too, by the way, just in case you didn't know. All right, Craft Contemporary is offering 2 admissions to, they have a fabulous glass exhibition on the 2nd floor going on now, so don't miss that. Who gets the Craft Contemporary tickets?
That would be David Mann.
Mr. Mann, David, you disappeared. Where did you go?
Well, he walked away, but he's still here. He's
Okay, David gets it. Oh, he'll love that.
Yep, right up his alley.
All right. And then from the Larchmont Buzz, we have 1 month business card advertisement. Who gets the Larchmont Buzz ad?
That would be Evan Thomas.
Evan Thomas.
All
Whoa.
right. I won that one like pre-pandemic too.
Well, did it help you out? You're going to use it, right?
I'm going to use it.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
I really, you know.
That's
all right.
funny.
And from Kramer Law Group, we've got 2 healthcare directives. I cannot tell you how important this is. You need to have a will, because if you leave this earthly coil, you know who gets the stuff? The state of California. And they do not know what to do with Aunt Maisie's clock. They just don't. In addition to a will, you really need a healthcare directive. Why? Because if you're drooling and you don't know how green from yellow is, you need to have some people that are going to say, this is what we think she would like. So it's critical. And particularly right now, when there are people leaving before they think they should, or we think they should. So these healthcare directives are transferable. If you're smart enough to already have one, you can pass it along to someone that you know and love that would need it. So 1 healthcare directive, who gets that?
That's James Panazzo.
Mr. Panazzo, excellent. All right. And number 2?
Teresa of Avila Panthers.
I'm sorry?
I don't know. It was in the list.
Okay, well, Teresa. All right, well, I'm afraid that next.
Donald Chuck.
Oh, Chuck. Where is it?
Donald Chuck.
Oh, he's with
Yeah, he's my colleague. I
Oh.
think he just jumped off.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
I'm
go
here.
ahead.
let him have it.
Will sure already got love. We're good.
He said he's here.
Oh,
Okay, who gets the second one?
Oh,
Did we,
it went to Evan Thomas, but I'll draw again.
okay, we're gonna give it to Evan, and he gives it,
Liz Fuller.
okay. Oh, Fuller?
Elizabeth Fuller, yes.
Yeah, all right.
And Liz, it's transferable. If you already have one, you can give it to somebody.
Okay. Now for our fanciful basket, fabulous eats and treats. Who gets the fanciful basket?
Oh, that went to Chuck, but Chuck is gone. Patty Lombard.
All right, excellent. And finally, the beautiful arrangement from Urban Florist. Who gets that?
Steve Kramer.
All right.
15 years later.
He's been waiting 15 years for this.
I'm sorry you had to wait so long. All right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I know we learned a lot and heard a lot from Councilwoman Raman, and I'm glad that you all had a chance to pose questions. And thank you for letting us know what we're going to do in terms of the evening social. I will let you all know what we're going to do in June as soon as possible. But in the meantime, travel safe, be well, and be kind. Have a great day. Cheers.
Thanks, Meg.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Meg. Thank you.
See you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
thanks,
Thank
Meg. Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Great seeing everyone.